Coming up today on In Our Heads, Season 1, Episode 4, the January 2022 edition, first edition of the new year. We're going to be talking about the formation of KISS in January of 1973. We're going to be talking about in Segment 2 what we would like to get as far as off the Soundboard and KISS box set releases. And in our third segment, we'll give homage to Mr. Paul Stanley since it's his 70th birthday in January. We're going to be talking about our favorite 5 Paul Stanley songs coming right up. All right, get in here, knuckleheads. Let's get back to Woo, it's going to be a good one.
I got my my hobo cooler here. Plastic bag with some ice packs. So.
You're committing to the look.
Any change?
I got this Duchess Cherry.
Nice.
It's a Belgium sour cherry ale.
Who wants to open their beer first?
All right, I'll do it.
Mine's already open because Casey wanted to try it.
Okay, well, since yours is already open, go ahead and tell us about yours. What do you like about it? And tell us a little bit about it. What brewery makes it?
Oh, it is very good. It's I cannot pronounce this at all. It's a Belgian brewery. Gosh, I can't read this. It's called Duchess Cherry. Let me there you go. You see that?
Yeah.
It's a authentic sour cherry ale from Belgium. 6.8% alcohol.
Woo.
So yeah, not too bad. It tastes like wine, actually.
Oh.
It kind of tastes like a wine. More like that. But it's very good.
Cool. Aaron, I'll let you do your beer on the next segment. That'll be the beer for segment 1. Want to give a special thanks real quick before we get started to my Patreons, my current Patreon subscribers as of January the 1st. I'd like to give a shout out to my guys and gals at the supporter level. The entry level is Pyretta. And at the inner circle level, the next level up is Rex Smetzer, James Dean, Jesse Ray, John Steinheimer, and Wendy Tipton. So those are my Patreon supporters that support. And also I've started, you'll see down in the description of my videos, I just put out a video before this one of me installing the wraps on the tail lights of my Challenger. I did that back during the summer when it was 90 degrees, and I finally finished that video up. But I started putting Amazon links in my description of different things. You can click on it. If you're going to be shopping on Amazon, you want to support the channel without it costing you absolutely anything, you can save my Amazon affiliate link. And so when you go to Amazon, you click on that, I get a little tip. If you buy something, I get like 1%. And it doesn't cost you any more to do it. And it helps me out. I don't get to see who you are or who's buying what. I just get a little tip. And some of you have already started doing that, and that's really cool. I think I've made like $3. But hey, that is $3 that can go towards buying something for the channel in the upcoming year. Like, I get some of Jeff Bezos' money, and God, he's got enough of it, so he can give me some. So current events
towards a beard trimming kit for AJ.
Yeah, we'll buy AJ a beard trimming kit.
I grew a beard for just for tonight's episode.
And I trimmed mine because mine was getting out there. I had to trim mine back a little bit because it was getting out there.
Casey wants me to try to grow up mine, so
there you go.
I started.
Yeah. You don't look 13 years old anymore.
No, maybe 14.
So speaking of, we're going to give Matthew a hard time since he wasn't here last month, and holidays was crazy.
Let me take this off.
Yeah, you take. Oh, it's stuck.
I'm keeping with the construction paper, because I didn't. This is my project for this episode. I had the kiss thing gifts before, and I had the turkey thing before that. So this is all the energy I had to make a fake beard.
Monthly crafts with AJ.
Yeah, that's going to become a segment. AJ's monthly crafts. Well, so our boy Matthew's done grown up and done got married. So and I got the honor of getting invited to that and got to go down with with my wife. This was back, when was it? Was it
November?
November?
13th. Yep,
No-
November 13th.
And so tell us a little bit about that. How's Casey doing? How y'all getting settled in, everything? And I got some pictures I'm going to show here while you're talking.
Yeah, getting settled in. We joked that we might as well get married because we survived a pandemic. We we got through college. We raised some teenagers, and we bought a house, built a house. So we might as well get married at this point, right? But no,
Right.
it was good. We had the wedding out at some property that her mom and stepfather own, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just a small ceremony. There was maybe like 40 people or so there, but
Yeah.
it was very nice. We did everything ourselves pretty much, and it turned out very well. And I was glad that you were able to come down. Most everybody that was there was local to us in Georgia. We had some friends from North Carolina, you guys like from North Carolina, and some other friends from North Carolina come down. So it was a lot of fun though. It was cool to hang out with everybody.
Mailman lost my invite, I guess. That's okay.
Yeah, well.
I told you could come. I told you.
It was a very beautiful wedding. You were looking very beautiful that day, and Casey was looking very beautiful that day. And
oh yeah, she looked amazing, and I tell her every day that she looks amazing regardless. But she looked great that day, and we we wrote our own vows and everything, so that was a nice little touch. And we picked all the music that we played for the whole ceremony and everything, so it was fun. Talking about the cake, we should also mention that my groom's cake was a KISS cake. So.
Oh yeah, I got a picture of that. I got a picture of that right here.
Nice.
It was orange flavored cake. My sister actually did that piping work there, but
Yeah.
it had all the logos on it. And so I was slicing up the cake and asking people which member they preferred, And I think, who was it that I wanted to say more people got Gene and Peter and Ace. Not a lot of people wanted Paul.
Yeah. I wanted Ace. I wanted a piece of Ace, and somebody. I don't think nobody wanted a piece of Paul.
No.
Might be a little. It might be a little too sour. And Gene's tasted a little bit like bullshit. and check this out right here.
Ace's
Boom.
rum cake.
Photographic evidence.
Yeah, there you go. Two dapper dons.
Photographic evidence that we look like two guys that's ready to. I don't know.
Cause some trouble.
Yeah, we're ready to cause some trouble. Matthew and Casey, they'd been doing shots, and the way you see Matthew, that's exactly how he was feeling by that time. That was a fun time.
Couldn't wait to strip up that tux, huh?
Yeah. And I've already started talking to Rick because I told Rick, we were talking about New Year's resolutions and stuff, and I was like, man, we got to get Matthew to come up and hook up with me. And then me and Matthew ride out to St. Louis. It's not that far. It's about an 8-hour drive, and get AJ down from Chicago, and we can all meet at the Wax Night basement, and we can spend the weekend talking KISS and shooting the shit. And
I told him a long time ago. I said, "Hey man, that's a goal. I got to make it to the Wax Night basement at least once."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
So Rick, we're coming whether you like it or not.
You don't have any guns in the house, does he?
He's got 2 big dogs, though.
I know.
Don't wear your beard. They might freak out the dogs.
Yeah, right.
All right. So segment 1, we're going to talk about KISS, the formation of KISS. For those of you who may not know, or that does know, or don't know, or does know and just needs to be refreshed, KISS was basically formed out of a band called Wicked Lester, and Wicked Lester had been a band that Gene and Paul were in with people like Stephen Cornell, who was kind of involved in some of the early KISS stuff. Some of the early KISS songs, like She and other songs, kind of made their way over from Wicked Lester. And Gene and Paul recorded an album with Wicked Lester. It was going to be released on Epic, and they decided they didn't want to do that. And so they basically fired the other guys, but they retained the name Wicked Lester, and they started shopping around for people to make a heavier band than what Wicked Lester was going to be. And they found Peter. They abandoned Wicked Lester in 1972 and started to form a new group. They were still using the name Wicked Lester when they auditioned Peter Criss, and shortly asked him to join. Peter was the oldest, and they played as a threesome for a short time and decided they needed a fourth member as a second guitarist and a lead soloist. So they had changed their name from Wicked Lester to KISS when Gene and Paul and Peter were driving around in a cab in New York. And Peter suggested his old band was named Lips, and Paul just blurted out, well, how about KISS? And the name stuck. So in early January of 1973, the band auditioned Ace Frehley, who was asked to join the band. And you've all heard the stories of him coming in and just plugging in and starting to play while the other guy was playing, and he had on two different colored shoes. And they should have known from the very beginning of meeting Ace what they were going to be dealing with. He was the kind of guy that he was a rock and roller. Him and Peter both were rock and rollers. So the band played their first show at KISS on January 30th. They played a show called the Popcorn Club, which would eventually change its name to the Coventry, for an audience of less than 10 people. Most of them were girlfriends and friends. The band wore makeup during the first three shows from January 30th to February 1st, but it was not makeup like they have now. It was like face paint, and because they were trying to find something like the New York Dolls and go like a different direction. This was before they kind of went kabuki with the kabuki makeup. The crude early versions of what would become the iconic makeup for each member would make their debut on shows from March the 9th through the 10th at the Daisy in Amityville. And then just looking forward into the immediate future, March 13th, the band recorded a 5-song demo with Eddie Kramer that would eventually become part of their debut album. And by the end of 1973, the band had hired manager Bill Aucoin, who I think Bill Aucoin and Sean Delaney were like almost the fifth and sixth members of KISS. They worked so hard for the band. They're what helped make KISS who they were, in my opinion. But they hired Bill as their manager, secured a record deal with Casablanca, and recorded their iconic debut album entitled KISS. They did all that once they solidified themselves as a band and played together on January 30th. By the end of the year, they had secured a manager, secured a record deal, and recorded an album. And the album would be released in February of 74, and the rest is history. So, you guys, I mean, that's basically what I wanted to talk about, this segment just being the origin of KISS. And is there any facts or any little trivia things that you guys may or may not want to add in or not want to add in, or if you're watching, want to put it down in the comments? But that's what I basically want to do. The segment it's the formation of KISS. I mean, I know it's not the 50th anniversary, but we're right there at it. It happened in January of 73. So I just wanted to make a segment that kind of, pays homage to that, pays honor to that. So what do you guys have anything to say about anything about that?
Well, I'm glad that Wicked Lester thing never took off because, that was no bueno to me. That's for sure. It had that like that 70s AM gold
Jethro Tull kind of sound.
I was gonna say anything with flutes, you can kiss my ass. I mean, right off the bat, it just sounds like music you lay out in the middle of a field on a blanket and smoke weed to. And I wasn't digging it too much. And no, I'm glad they decided they had the foresight to see this ain't working.
Yeah. I definitely agree with when they said that. I think I've heard somewhere from one of them, either Paul or Gene, said something about that music then would have just gotten lost in the shuffle. There was nothing really special about it. I mean, you can hear, even the songs that they would later become KISS songs just sound so much different as Wicked Lester versus as KISS. And it does, like you said, sound so much like it was around back then. And, unless there was some, crazy happenstance, that album probably wouldn't have gone anywhere really, and it would just been a forgotten 70s, one hit wonder, maybe if there was even a hit, But yeah, I mean, as far as the timeline, I mean, I know they talk a lot about, struggling and how they didn't have much money and everything, but that's pretty fast turnaround if you think about it, from first show to, record coming out in pretty much a year. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we all know people that are in bands or have been in bands, and they're lucky to have 5 songs written within a year. You know what I'm saying? Let
Mm-hmm.
alone have a whole recording contract, multiple shows, and all that stuff. So I know it was a different time frame than it is now, but at the same time, that's a fast snowball, it seems to me. So
Yeah. I agree. I think sometimes I wonder if back then, Kiss has made their fair share of bad decisions since then. And sometimes they make the right decision at the wrong time. Sometimes it's too little, too late, or they've made the decision and maybe too soon in some cases. But I think that during that time, Kiss had the foresight to see that there was the hippie music was on its way out. And they were probably looking around at bands that when they were in Wicked Lester and they were seeing what the other members in Wicked Lester were making. And if you listen to that album, if you listen to the Wicked Lester album, which you can listen to it on YouTube and places like that, it's all over the place. There's no, and I've heard them say this too, that there's no specific vision. There was no specific targeted focal point. The album was just all over the place in all kinds of different directions. And it was just, sometimes they was just more and more and more. It was almost like Gene Simmons' solo album. It was just, let's just keep layering stuff and layering stuff and layering stuff.
Yeah.
Keep adding to it. And sometimes you get subtraction by addition. And in the case of the Wicked Lester album, it's not a bad album, but it's not a Kiss album either. And the same thing goes for when you hear, it's amazing how you can have different musicians like Gene and Paul together with other guys. They weren't as good. You hear Peter and some of Peter's early bands, they weren't as good. You hear Ace and some of his early bands. Although I like some of Ace's stuff that he did in Malimo. I've done some videos about some of Ace's demos and that he did back in the day before Kiss, and they were probably my favorite, but they weren't Kiss. But it's funny about, you get the dynamic of those 4 guys together. And I've been in bands before where you form a band and you're not in it very long and you're like, this ain't going to work out because of there's something just doesn't click. And then there's sometimes I've jammed with people before with no intention of making a band, and you get together and you jam and you walk out of that jam session going, do you want to make a band? You want to let's start a band. Yeah. And because it just clicks. And I've been in bands like that before where you're playing and you're off doing your own thing and they're doing their own thing, but you all end up in the same spot at the same time. And you just look at each other like, whoa, that was freaky. It's like we were in each other's heads, knowing what the other one was going to do. That's how it kind of was with my band Lydia's Bridge, with me and the guys that has been in that band. We've always knew where the other person was going without even really telling them. And it's really so cool whenever that happens, because it's just like, it's like slipping on that comfortable shoe that you've had for a while. It just slips right on and it just fits. So I think Gene and Paul knew that if they would have kept going in that direction, they would not be around today. They would have been some obscure band that put an album out in the early 70s, maybe a second album, and they probably, and honestly, I'm one of those people that this is kind of a little bit out of the scope of what we're talking about on the segment, but it still is the origins. And I want to see what you guys think about this. I'm one of those people that subscribes to the thought that had Kiss not put on the makeup, would they have still been a successful band? And I subscribe to the thought that yes. I don't think they would have been as successful, and they wouldn't been a brand. We would not have had all the merchandising and all the stuff that came with the imagery of KISS. But if they kept that same, if they would have had an over-the-top stage show with the pyro and all the stuff that they did, and maybe dress a little outlandish, a la New York Dolls or some of the bands that was coming up during that time, and just went out there, because the songs, the music, you can't deny. Some people say KISS is all flash and no ass, but I honestly think that KISS is flash and balls, and I think that KISS's music is strong enough to stand on its own. But the makeup and the whole gimmick and the marketing behind the makeup is what projected them to the universal worldly image that we have of KISS now. But I still think that they would have had a successful career. I think they could have been a successful. I don't know how far into the 80s they would have went, or would they still be together now. But I think they would have sold their fair share of albums. A lot of people think that had KISS not ever put on the makeup, that KISS wouldn't have would have been big at all. They think that the makeup was what did everything. But honestly, to the contrary, in the beginning, the makeup, what I think, if you've ever heard all the stories and all the people talk from back then, the makeup in the beginning was kind of a hindrance because people didn't get it. They didn't look like everybody else, and it kind of turned people off in the beginning, and they had to really kind of push it and keep pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. So I think that almost in the beginning, maybe for the first few albums, the makeup was a hindrance to the band. That they might have gotten bigger faster had they looked like everybody else and just had good music, had the same songs, but put out the same exact songs, the same exact albums, just without makeup. I still think the KISS would have been big. I want to know what's your guys' thoughts on that?
I wonder if the makeup kind of dictated their sound a little bit, because when they took it off, they sounded different. Not bad, but just different from when they had it on. At least to me, it did. It's like if someone who looked like King Diamond came out on stage and started singing like Green Day songs, it just like it wouldn't fit. So I wonder if I just think maybe their makeup kind of dictated what type of music they were playing, because I can't see them playing like Black Diamond or God of Thunder and just dudes that kind of look like New York Dolls or somewhere in between them, the New York Dolls and KISS. So
right,
that's my kind of thinking, but I don't know. It's hard to tell, because when you listen to it, I was listening to that. It was like the very first possible recording of KISS, and they were, they definitely needed work. And I don't know if you guys heard it. Gene just going way over, singing, like, what are you doing, Gene? And Peter like being kind of like profane and calling the women in the audience like hot bitches or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Maybe it you never know, because it happened the way it did now. But I kind of think that maybe, I don't know if they would have been, to me, as successful because putting on the makeup and came with the costumes, and the costumes came with the stage show, and then everyone's like, oh, even if these guys suck, it's like watching a circus. So
right.
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle there as well. I agree with what AJ was saying. Like I feel like as they progressed throughout the 70s, like their personas kind of, those songs came to life with their personas, like God of Thunder, or some of Paul's kind of flirtatious type lyrics and everything with his star child lover personality kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would have worked as well if they didn't have those, iconic, personas, whatever. But but at the same time, like what you were saying, Brent, I definitely think the music was good enough where it could have gone somewhere. I don't know that it would have lasted beyond a couple of albums. I don't know that they wouldn't have had the. I don't know. I think they would have got lost in the shuffle of a lot, like bands like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, who had a similar type of sound, I don't think they would have reached to those levels as them and would have stayed on top. I think that the fact that people did start accepting and like were amazed at this stage show and their look and everything kind of added to that. And it definitely, obviously, it helped with the younger fans and everything, and that's what gave them the staying power for quite a long time, you know. So it's hard to say. I'm somewhere in the middle, like, because when I listen to the music, I love the music, and I've played Kiss songs for people who were like, whoa, like, this is Kiss, like, they're thinking, rock and roll all night, that's all they know, that kind of thing. They're like, this is not what I was expecting, So they realize that it's good, but at the same time, I don't know if they would have lasted longer than a few albums, just because I don't know if the sales would have been there, if the audience would have come without the spectacle, kind of,
Right. Yeah, and go ahead. You gonna say something, AJ?
The talent, they're definitely talented. They're definitely musicians and all that stuff. And we've heard some Gene songs from demos, and it's just like it's probably would have been more like that, because he made a demo and like whatever the like a parrot song or whatever the hell type of song or something that sounds like the Beatles. Like, well, okay, Gene, it's good, but it doesn't really fit Kiss. So
right,
there probably been more songs like stuff like that. There would have been there would have been songs, just different songs.
Yeah, that's what I think is funny, because if Gene and Paul have both always said, well, we felt like the Wicked Lester was not the direction we wanted to go in. You hear some of Paul's early demos. Paul was writing songs like, you hear some of Paul's early songs. He was writing songs like Sunday Driver. He was writing songs like Firehouse. He wrote Firehouse when he was like 16 years old. And so Paul was a rocker. And then you hear Gene, he's writing songs like Stanley the Parrot, My Uncle is a Raft. And it's like Gene belonged in Wicked Lester more than Paul did, in a way. And I think that Paul and Gene was two of those musical brothers that once they found each other, they were going to be together no matter what. It's like if there was a band that one of them was in that was going to be in it, both of them were going to be in it. They were inseparable. Once they joined, they were inseparable, and it was Paul and Gene and everybody else. And, and going back to a point, before we move on to the next segment, going back to a point that you said, that concert you're talking about, I've heard that too. That's the one that has the song, the song that trips me out that it's a Kiss song is the Life in the Woods song. I mean, Life in the Woods doesn't even sound like it is the title of a Kiss song. And that song, it's like they've got a guy, I've done a video about it, doing a review of it, and they've got a guy up on the stage just singing. You can tell he's just drunk it out of his ass. And you're right. It's like Gene was over singing. Gene was just all over the place. And Gene was talking. Ace was talking. Peter was talking. Hey, we like to thank people coming down from so and so and all you hot bitches. And Paul said in his book that I had to step forward and I was going to be the front man. So I had everybody else be quiet. And I was the one that spoke for the band.
You guys are embarrassing the shit out of me.
But now that show also has Acrobat on it, which is my favorite. I still say to this day that is the version that should have ended up on the debut album. They could have had a nice long instrumental with that Much Too Young at the end of it, and had Love Theme from Kiss, or had Love Theme from Kiss, and it would have been not have that, but had Acrobat instead. And then it would have been long enough where they wouldn't have been able to put Kissin' Time on there, so we wouldn't have had Kissin' Time. I've said that before in the past, but Kiss definitely evolved, and you're right. That is a good point, that their image and where they were going with their personas did dictate their songs to an extent, and it dictated their sound. Because since they looked a certain way, they needed to sound a certain way.
Yeah.
And then when they did songs like "And Then She Kissed Me," then it just don't make sense. So, but yeah, so it's kind of a happy birthday month to KISS. It's a happy birthday month to Paul, but it's also a happy birthday month to KISS because they solidified their membership. They came up with their name and played their first show in January of 1973. So we'll have the 50-year anniversary next year, which will be really cool. Going into segment 2, AJ, you want to talk about your beer, what you got, who's it from? Give it a taste.
I got a Noon Whistle. It's I don't. It's called "Don't Worry, Be Gummy." Hazy. I don't know why they put the word "gummy" in there, but it's a hazy IPA. But I was hoping for something like gummy bears, but whatever. But it's it's nice. It's nice. Brewed from Noon Whistles in a local Illinois place. So nice little 6.8. Crack it open. You're making me drink on a weekday. But I'll do it for the show.
Sure.
Yay! Do it for the viewers, AJ.
Cheers. Very good. It's very good though. Noon Whistle hazy IPA. Don't worry, be gummy. Yeah. Unless there's some kind of gummy weed thing, I don't know, but I don't do that stuff, so I can only hope it's in there.
All right, segment number 2. So KISS just announced the pre-orders for the new Off the Soundboard. At the time that we talked about doing this, they hadn't even announced this yet. So I added to my notes. They just announced their second Off the Soundboard. The first was from Tokyo on March 13th, 2001, a show with Ace and Eric Singer in it. The second Off the Soundboard is going to be from Virginia Beach, taken from July 25th, 2004. I think it was the Rock the Nation tour with Tommy and Eric in it. And so we already know what the second Off the Soundboard is, and what I want to do, and you guys can put it down in the comments. What's your 3 requests for a Off the Soundboard would be? And I'm going to start with me. We'll start with my number 3. My number 3 is I would like a Off the Soundboard from 1983, off the Lick It Up tour. And one I specifically was looking at, as far as set list goes, was the one from Augusta, Georgia on December 28th, 1983. It was the second date on that tour. And check out this set list. It would have been Creatures of the Night, Detroit Rock City, Cold Gin, Fits Like a Glove, Firehouse, a guitar solo from Paul Stanley. That would have been a bathroom break. Exciter.
Yeah.
Live. War Machine. Gimme More. Live. Guitar solo, Vinnie Vincent. I would have stayed for that one. Bass solo, I Love It Loud, I Still Love You. Drum solo, Young and Wasted, Love Gun, Black Diamond, and the encore was Lick It Up and Rock and Roll All Night. But man, there's some, and I went to that tour, but I was later on that tour. I don't know if I ever remember hearing Exciter and Give Me More live. I don't know if I remember hearing those live. But yeah, so that would be my pick. That'd be one that I would like for them to do, would be off the Lick It Up tour in general. Something with Vinny. I don't know if they'll do it unless they've got a way where they don't have to pay Vinny. They probably do. They probably have it to where they don't have to pay Vinny for it. But I think an Off the Soundboard with Vinny and Eric would be cool. So let's Matthew, since you're to my left on the screen, what's one of yours?
Well, let me just say that's would be an awesome lineup for songs there, because there's a good mix of stuff that you don't hear live all the time. So that's great. My third pick was kind of maybe a unlikely scenario, but I would love to hear like some of the unplugged or acoustic shows that they did, like for the KISS conventions or either the cruises or something like that, where they do play some of the deeper cuts acoustically. I think that'd be something cool, because it's, the unplugged album was really fun, especially the fact that they did pull some some older stuff out. Well, I know they've done some stuff, you know, some deeper tracks too on some of those shows. That would be cool to have too. So that's what I would say. No particular show, but just I know they do, you know, some of those older tracks you don't hear that much and everything. I think that'd be a lot of fun and something a little different too, since it's acoustic. So
Yeah, kind of like off the soundboard, the acoustic, the cruise / convention edition.
right,
And then they could have after each song where it was done at, what Kiss cruise it was done on, what convention it was done at. Yeah, you know,
Nice.
that's a really good idea. I'd buy that.
Oh, totally, yeah.
What about you, Aaron?
Well, it sure as shit what they didn't just announce. That's for sure. Are we going to get back to that? Because I got a lot of shit I got to complain about on that one.
Yeah, go ahead and go about it now. Go ahead and go now.
No. We'll play nice first, and
Okay.
then I think that'd be a good finale for this segment.
Okay.
My number 3, I know it's already kind of been done, but the Love Gun tour, and get to finally hear like "Take Me" and "Hooligan" as they were supposed to be, and
Oh yeah.
I'd like to hear how they really sounded without overdubs, without all the shit, without all the stuff and all the studio fuckery, and just hear how it's supposed to be. You know, the Love Gun tour, the pinnacle of their freaking career. So, yeah, anything from that tour, especially if I can get like "Take Me" and "Hooligan" and "I Stole Your Love" is always like one of my favorites anyway. So I'll take that at any tour, but God forbid if they play it now. Anyway, my number 3 would be something from the Love Gun tour. 70 July 77, I think.
Yeah.
September 77. I didn't pick any specific date, but I got that. I got the book, probably the same book you got with all the set lists and stuff, but it's buried somewhere. So yeah, number 3. Anything from the Love Gun tour that doesn't have all the overdubs and all that stuff. I want all the mistakes.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea having that.
I want to hear Ace fall down.
Right. My number 2, and this was almost my number 1, but my number 2 is one that would have been near and dear to me. I would love if they released this. I'd be first in line to buy it if they released this. From the 1979 Dynasty Tour, specifically from the Charlotte Coliseum, June 24th, 1979, that little 10-year-old Brant was at. It was the 4th date on the tour. And check out this set list. King of the Nighttime World was the opener. Then Radioactive. Then Move On from Paul. Then Christine 16. Firehouse. New York Groove. Calling Dr. Love. Tossin' and Turnin'. Love Gun. 2000 Man. Ace Guitar Solo. I Was Made for Loving You, the first time it was ever played. The bass solo from God of Thunder. Oh, the bass solo going into God of Thunder, followed up by the drum solo. Then Shout It Out Loud, Rock and Roll All Night, and then the encore, Beth, Detroit Rock City, and Black Diamond. I'd be in the first in line to buy that damn album.
And you were 8 when you saw that?
I was 10.
10? Oh, man, 10. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
God, I can't imagine how cool that was. How cool was it? Tell us. How cool
it was cool. And I found out where I've read this at is that night they had sold the capacity of the tour. It was 13,000 people in that auditorium. They had sold it out to capacity that night. And I remember my seats we weren't on the floor. I was there with my aunt and my cousin. And we were on the first level up to the left on Gene's side in an angle. So I saw the stage from an angle, and I can remember like certain things in my head from that night. That was the first tour that Gene flew up into the rafters, into the lighting truss to sing. I remember that. I remember him flying, and I remember it freaking me out that he was flying. and he was spitting blood out as he was going up, and like the blood was just flying out, flying out as he was going up. It was crazy. It's crazy to remember. And I know that they dropped sponges during that, but we weren't on the floor, so I didn't get one. The Kiss Army sponges was dropped on that tour. I didn't get one.
You get a tour book?
So I did get a tour book, but I don't have it anymore. But I did get a tour book.
Put it on your wall like I would have.
Yeah. I want to have another Dynasty tour book someday. A lot of the tour books, the Kiss tour books that I had, I mean, I had Dynasty, I had the Animalized, Lick It Up. I had I think the Asylum. The Asylum was a big tour book. I had that, and so I'm planning on getting. I was watching, shouting out to my buddy Rick on It's All For You Demon. He just put out a video talking about that his rabbit hole this year is going to be collecting the Magic Market cups.
Yeah.
And I had all those Magic Market cups when I was little, and they cost a lot more than $3.99 for the entire collection now.
Shocker.
For all 8 of them.
Yeah.
So that's going to be his rabbit hole this year. And I was thinking about my rabbit hole this year being tour programs. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Last year, towards the end of the year, I got the big one for Kiss on Tour for the Alive 2 tour, which I didn't go to. My first show was Dynasty, so I'm gonna start hunting down the Dynasty tour book, the Unmasked tour, not the Unmasked, but the Animalized tour book, the Lick It Up tour book. I'm gonna start hunting the Asylum tour book. I must hunt those tour books down specifically this year, and I'll make videos about them when I get them. You guys know I will.
Did you have those tour books from that piece of shit that robbed your storage unit?
Yeah, I had those tour books, and they got robbed out of my storage unit. Yeah.
I hope that guy's balls fell off. I can only wish.
I think I know who it was at the time, and but I had no proof. But
is he neutered?
I don't even know if the dude's still alive anymore. Honestly, I don't really know. I don't know if the dude's alive anymore. It's been years ago. All right, so Matthew, what's your number 2?
Well, number 2, and I know we've had some somewhat official releases from this via the Kissology DVDs and everything, but I'd love for an unmasked era soundboard, from the Australia shows and everything. They were great. They played a lot of those tracks from Unmasked. I love that album, and Eric's first major tour with them and everything. I think it'd be a lot of fun to have those because I'm a big fan of that album anyway, and it'd be nice to have it shown some love. So
yeah, Australian stuff. And what's funny is they basically used the same stage and the same tour that the same costumes and the same stage they did for Dynasty. So
right,
at quick look, if you're looking at a video of it, it can look incredibly like Dynasty, except Eric is playing the drums.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I really like the way Paul changed his vocals on a lot of those songs, like on Detroit Rock City-O, where he does that 9 o'clock, the radio's the only light. He sings a lot of things differently. He doesn't just do it on just Detroit Rock City. So yeah, that'd be really cool. Having an official release of that on audio, cleaned up and not cleaned up, but but made to sound better than what you hear on YouTube or something like that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, see, I like Shandy a lot, and Talk to Me, Is That You? So it'd be cool to have those songs that they did live.
Yeah, he's had a lot of songs he played on the Unmasked tour. A lot of Ace.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, what about you?
Well, I was torn between putting Dynasty up there and Unmasked too, but my number 2 actually ended up being, even though we got it, 30 years ago and still waiting for some type of reissue or something, but the Animalized tour.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even the first Bruce show or something like that. That'd be great because they had a perfect mix of old and new. Creatures of the Night, Love Gun, and then they got Under the Gun and stuff like that. And it's just, and we're still waiting.
Yeah.
I'd love something from the Animalized tour.
Yeah, I almost put that down too as well. Just like clean up and release the audio for Animalized Live and Uncensored.
I'll take that. I'll take that. There's the man with the tongue.
Yeah, they'd probably have to do some kind of off the soundboard for some other show, because I think that's partially in part owned by MTV.
Well, MTV don't play music anymore, so we should really give a shit anymore.
Yeah, they should just sell it to Universal and let Universal release it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just give up all the rights to all their music because they don't play it anymore. So.
Exactly. All that.
Yeah, I'd even take that. I take the soundboard from the Animalized Laserdisc or whatever the hell. No, still that old school shit. Yeah. Still waiting.
Yep. I almost said that my number one. I almost said that, but then I was like, well, if you just go one more album later, you still get a lot of the stuff that you was getting off of the Lick It Up Animalized tour, but you also get songs off of another great album, Asylum. So off the soundboard, my number one off the soundboard that I would love to hear, and I would be in the first in line to buy it because I was at this show too, is the 1985. I drove myself to this show, and then I ended up getting lucky after the show with a girl that I met there. If you're watching this, I'm going to call you out by name.
Bleep it out. Bleep it out. Protect the innocent.
Yeah, I'll bleep that out because who knows where she's at now.
Well, let's Google her. What the shit?
1985 Asylum Tour, Charlotte Coliseum, December 28th, 1985. December 28th, 1985. And here's the set list. Detroit Rock City, Fits Like a Glove, All Night, Cold Gin, Under the Gun, Bruce Kulick guitar solo, I Still Love You, bass solo, I Love It Loud, Tears Are Falling, drum solo, War Machine, Love Gun, Rock and Roll All Night, and then encore, Heaven's on Fire and Lick It Up. So, nice. And I was at that show, and what I remember about that show is the size of that damn logo. The logo literally went from the bottom of the stage to the ceiling. It was so huge. And I remember that I won tickets for that off of a radio station, and they were press passes. And I didn't know what press passes was until they said, whenever I picked them up at the radio station. And so we were in between the barricade and the stage, and we were taking pictures. And we took pictures all night. And Gene and Paul and Bruce were coming over and, toying around and pointing and sticking their tongue Gene was sticking his tongue out and everything.
Let me guess, at one point you guys were talking and Gene couldn't hear you, so he goes, Star Child, and then all
Star Child. And Paul came over and said, you're looking for somebody, but it's not Kiss.
But it's not Kiss.
I'm looking to get laid after this show is what I'm looking for.
And Gene's like, you're in luck. So am I.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's my number one. What about you guys?
Well, my number one, actually, it's funny because there's not much more I could say for this, but it was, I basically put Animalized / Asylum era for both reasons you guys said. You know, I love that Animalized. I would, like I said, I would take that soundboard of that VHS they did back in the day. That would be great. But also the same reason you said Asylum, all the songs that they have coming from there and just, I don't know, all the reasons you guys said, I can't say much more. So I would take either one of those. It was kind of a tie, But now that I thought about it and just saying, a Kiss Meets Phantom reference, how awesome would it be if they had a soundboard from the shows they did recording that movie? Yep. Then we could have a rip and destroy.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, so yeah, I put Animalized or Asylum era sometime in that, 2 year, 3 years.
It was a great era. It really was.
It is. And they played a good mix of older stuff and the stuff from those albums. And, you know, all that energy from Eric, man. I mean, you know, I've said it before so many times, sound like a broken record, but when he's singing, you know, Young and Wasted, man, it's just, it's like a machine gun going, man. He's making them go fast. They don't have a choice because he's just
exactly.
And I love it. I love that version. I mean, I love that song regardless, but Eric doing it, singing it, and playing it faster is 10 times better. So, so yeah, that's my number one pick.
Eric playing it like Pete should have been, because Pete was the one that was on coke, wasn't he? Well, my number one is you kind of mentioned already, the Lick It Up tour. I'd love to have something from the first tour without the makeup. And yeah, like you were saying, that set list. I mean, I wrote some shit down here. Creatures and Fits Like a Glove and Exciter, Give Me More, Young and Wasted. I mean, damn, that was a great. I mean, it's such a great album anyway.
Oh yeah.
And they don't hardly play any of that stuff anymore. I'd love to have anything from the Look It Up era tour.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get it.
Number one for sure.
If it's a thing like they're punishing Benny, like you said, it's like we're all missing out.
Right. So, what is your thoughts on the next decision, that the one that they've just currently said that they're going to do? AJ, I'll let you go.
Well, once again, they've messed up a shit sandwich. Given us as we just had 9 picks between the three of us, and nothing mentioned from the 2000s, or nothing mentioned from the goddamn DVD they already put out, because it's the same day, the same dates, right? Because it was DC and Virginia Beach, and that's the best of those two shows on the DVD, that fast motion choppy shit DVD they put out. And I'd like to know what their thinking is. I really do. And all the stuff they can choose, they chose something they kind of already did, and something, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm not pining for shit with Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer. You know, I've seen it live and it was okay. And I'm like, oh, gee, I'd really like to. I don't know. The other soundboard was cool because Ace was on there, and plus, you know, Paul still could sing, and there were no problems there. And I mean, I'll even take a reunion off the soundboard. I don't care. That'd be great. Something from 96, 97 or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. I was like, if they want to do something like that, at least give us that. I mean, for the same reason you said, like, if like you said, you guys pointed out, that is the same show as the DVD, you know, and that, I mean, that's fairly recent. That's pretty lazy. I mean, that's just cashing in a few extra bucks on something they already have. They're just, you know, sticking it in a cardboard sleeve now, you know. I mean,
you could do Vegas next. Is that the next one? It's like
that's what I was just thinking. Or that they'll probably do that New Year's Eve show from last year that they did in, you know, wherever it was.
Yeah. And it's $20 more. I know I paid $40 for the last one. Black vinyl, basic.
Yeah.
Now it's $60.
Yeah.
With nothing extra. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And speaking of that New Year's show, I was reading some comments today that people are still waiting for some of their shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are just getting the drumsticks now, and other people are like, yeah, anytime you want to send me my shit from the New Year's thing, that'd be great before you put out the soundboard thing. Yeah. People are still waiting for some of this.
Least effort, maximum profit. The whole thing with, on the first one, you already gave us a member of KISS that we really didn't want, with putting Singer on there. But now I defend that one in a little bit, because it is still a good show. And Ace, and we still had 2/3 of KISS. And, you know, to do some of those things, they had to have at least that, because when they did Symphony, you know, they had to have at least 3 members. That's why they brought Peter back. And because they brought Peter back, and they had Tommy playing during that time. And then they had, you know, they had the point in time where they had Ace and didn't have Peter, and they had Eric Singer. But it's like, they need to wake up and know that their largest fan base does not really want Man, we want stuff from the 80s. We want stuff from, you know, I mean, I I looked into I almost thought, it'd be kind of cool. Well, one of the honorable mentions that didn't make it to my list, but an off the soundboard from Revenge, the Revenge tour would be awesome as fuck too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because they Kiss during the Revenge era and going into the Carnival of Souls era, which they didn't tour for. But Kiss during the Revenge era, Bruce and Eric had been with Kiss so long, and had started ingraining themselves into the creative process. The Revenge kicks ass, and the Revenge tour kicked ass.
Oh yeah.
And that show kicked ass. And I don't understand, if you're going to give us something, you've already given us something with makeup on. Now you're giving us another show with makeup on. Give us a show without makeup, or go right. Give us. You notice on my list, the only show that was on there that was a makeup show was Dynasty. The other two were non-makeup and not even original members of the band. So you can't say, "Oh, well, you're only interested in hearing the original members of the band." No, I'd love to hear this with Vinnie Vincent. I would love to hear this show with Bruce Kulick and Eric Carr. I'd love to hear the Revenge show with Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer. I'd love to hear those. So
both of these soundboard releases are within relatively close time frame to each other.
Right.
I mean, within a few years. Like, let's jump around a little. Give us something, don't give us like, 2003, 2004, no, give us, you gave us 2003, give us, 77 now, then go, 83, then maybe 94, and
right.
Then,
I like Kiss like my horror movies, 70s and 80s.
Yeah. There you go.
I just don't want them to do. I just don't want them to start a good idea and then make a poor choice, and then the first one sold pretty good from what I understand. Now they do this one. If this one falls flat, then it's like, oh well, that's not working anymore. Let's just quit doing it, and then we don't get any more.
Yeah, it's like
the first one sold good, of course, because it's the first one. But I bet it sold better because it had Ace.
Yeah,
it was something with not the current lineup that we have now, and now they're just giving us the same thing. It
almost feels like a self-sabotage. Like, you don't want to do it, and this is going to sell like crap. Like, well, yeah, like you said, we're not going to do them because they're supposed to do like 2 more this year, right? Isn't that the rumor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they're supposed to do 2 more this year.
I mean, this isn't coming out till March, so that's
and supposedly they already know what they're doing. They already have them in the works. I've heard the rumor that they already know the next 3 box sets that they're doing, and they already know the next 3, and they knew the next 3 off the soundboards they were going to do, and they already released the details about this one before we got a chance to do this. That's why we're picking 3 off the soundboard and 3 box sets, which is alluding into our part 2 of segment 2. All right, so that brings us into our second segment, part 2 of segment 2, box set requests. So, like we were talking about just now, Kiss I think they've got their next 3 box sets planned. I don't know if they're all coming out this year, but they've got their plans in the works. So we're going to talk about our 3 box sets that we would like to see happen. And if you want to give reasons why, you can give reasons why. And I'll start. My number 3 is the box set I would like to get is the box set for Rock and Roll Over. And I think the Rock and Roll Over box set could include demos and outtakes from the recordings. It's real interesting how Rock and Roll Over was recorded. And it was recorded in the Capitol Theater. Peter Criss drums was set up in the bathroom, and but I think it'd be cool to have a book with photos and documents of the recording process if there are any. And I also like what they did with the Destroyer box set. So I think it'd be cool if they include a Blu-ray 5.1 recording of the entire album as it was originally conceived. As the just that where it surrounds you. And I think the box set should include a CD and vinyl. Damn it. Put the CD and vinyl in there. Don't make us pay extra for the vinyl. So put a CD in there of demos, outtakes, and all that other stuff, and then put a vinyl in there of the album. Yeah, Rock and Roll Over. I think they could do a lot of cool stuff with that, the packaging and stuff. So Rock and Roll Over is my number 3 that I would like to see. What about you, Matthew?
Number 3 for me, and you know, this really breaks down to like personal preference, of course, and like what I'd love to see. But I think Creatures of the Night would be great. I mean, this is the 40th anniversary of that album. You know, I mean, that was right when they hit the MTV video age. So I'm sure, you know, they had a heavier album that was bringing them back into the limelight again and everything. And I just think that would, a lot of cool extras, you know, in the book, you know, and everything would be really nice. And, you know, Vinny having the makeup on and the big tour they did, you know, and Rio and all that stuff. Just pictures from that in a book and everything. And I think it'd be a really nice set, you know, but I don't know if they'll do that because, you know, that means, like we said before, giving Vinny some props, and they don't really like to do that. But even though, I mean, he wrote some hell of a great, you know, great songs and, like, you know, saved them in a way. Mm-hmm. You know, he did. We got to admit, you know, he helped them out a lot. I mean, if he didn't, they would have brought him back for revenge. You know.
Yeah, right.
But that was my pick. Creatures. I think that'd be really cool to see. You know, they could do some neat stuff with that, I think. So.
Yep. About you, AJ?
Well, I know it'd probably be hard to do, but I think it would be nice to have the first one, the self-titled first album would be nice. Just I know there's probably not a lot of stuff to choose from. I don't care. Put the Wicked Lester CD in there, you know, if you want. And like you said, it'd be nice to have vinyl and CD. I mean, God forbid if you put them both in there. You're only charging $200 for the damn thing.
Yeah,
some awesome pictures, and maybe even do something with like the little put like little rivets or something in there on the KISS logo. They could feel it, like little like bedazzled, you know what I call it. But yeah, just start digging up the old pictures. You probably put half of the shit from like Kissery or whatever them books were back in the day, or any of that stuff. You know, I'd definitely like to see an homage and just for the first one because it's the first one. So my number one or my first pick, original KISS album.
Okay. My number 2 that I would like to see, I think this would be an amazing box set. It has Boxset written all over it, and just the entire concept of it. But my number 2, what I would like to see, is a box set of music from the Elder.
Yeah.
They could have all the concept drawings and the writings that were created, the script, all the demos. There was a bunch of demos that didn't make it. There was a bunch of teaching tracks where Paul and Bob Ezrin and Gene were doing teaching tracks because they were sending a lot of stuff back and forth to Ace. There's a lot of that type of material. All the spoken word tracks that went in between the songs could be put back. The album could be, you know, returned to its original, what it was supposed to be, original track listing with all the spoken word. I think a coffee table book inside would be with photos from all that time from the recording process and everything. And a Blu-ray 5.1 recording of this would sound amazing. Of the entire album as originally conceived, and of course, it should include CD and vinyl. It should be everything. It should be CD and vinyl. So, Music from the Elder is my number 2 pick. I think it'd be a badass box set.
That is such a neat era. That I mean, definitely when it happened, it was shocking because you're like, oh, they cut their hair.
Yeah,
they got low-soled shoes. You know, it's like, and there's just not a lot of stuff out there, but the stuff we have seen, it's really cool. I really wish they would respect it or appreciate it more, or no, you know, Eric's first album, and I don't care. Throw Killers in there too. Throw a bonus disc to Killers because of those.
Yeah. Put Killers in there as a bonus disc. Yes.
Yeah. And don't charge me an extra $20 for it.
Right.
Well, great minds. My number 2 also is The Elder. And I was thinking to make it even neater, that comic book fan in me, let's do a graphic novel adaptation of the story and put it in.
Yes.
That's the only way you can get the graphic novel. I mean, I know they work with a lot of different comic companies, a lot of different writers, a lot of different artists. I'm sure there are plenty of KISS fans who are comic artists who are chomping at the bit to jump on that. And that could be a really cool little extra thing and something they could definitely hike up the price for, because bam, you got a 150, 200 page graphic novel here included, that you can only get with this box set,
That's awesome.
That tells the whole story, so
that's a great idea.
Everything that you said, the same reason, that's screaming for a box set. That's I mean, it needs to tell a story and have everything included. It's perfect. So
yeah, and the box set doesn't open the way Destroyer did, where it lists off. The box set opens like a freaking door.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Opens like a door, man.
Or like a table, like
in
Seinfeld, the coffee book table shaped like a coffee table.
It opens up and opens out. Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It would be. Man, I'd buy that. I would.
Make it really out of wood, out of balsa wood or something.
Yeah. But put a knocker on it.
The box set turns into a coffee table that you can put your feet up on and put your beer on.
With a coaster.
With a coaster, right. With a coaster, because I paid $1,000 for this box set. All right, what about you, AJ?
Where are we at? Number 2?
Yeah.
My number 2, definitely Creatures, because that's another album. It's such a fantastic album, and they've done nothing with it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not have that too? Yeah, and just the color scheme alone needs to be displayed somehow. I don't know, man.
That black and blue, the
white eyes,
creepy,
man. But yeah, like you were saying, Matt, with have some pictures from like the I Love It Loud video shoot, or even I don't know, put I Love It Loud on a little disc. You can different. I don't know. This man, so much stuff they can do.
Yeah,
I'd love to see a Creatures other night, just so I can get a nice Creatures vinyl or something, because my vinyl is shot to shit because I was 7 years old.
Releasing that dark blue vinyl again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Glow in the dark cover.
Glow in the dark blue vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
charge me extra. Yeah. Don't charge me extra.
Oh yeah. The eyes glow in the dark. You turn the lights off and the eyes are staring back at you.
That'd be great, right?
That'd be awesome.
That's such a cheap thing to do, but it would make it so much cooler.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, my number 2, definitely I'd like to see something done with Creatures of the Night, but keep pushing.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but we're like running in the same veins here. I mean, they should watch this video and listen. We're running in the same veins.
Put our heads together. We're turning into one head.
Wrong way.
Bounce my head off your heads.
Now we're like,
I'm the big head. I'm the big head in between. It's like
the Brady Bunch now.
Hey, guys. So my number 1 is one we've already talked about, but I'm going to say why it'd be my number 1 and why. What it is my number 1 and why.
I wonder if we're all say number 1.
My number 1 is the debut. And I think they could have they could include the remastered Eddie Kramer demos. They could have a book and with photos from the recording. I mean, you see these photos popping up all the time now of the recording of them in the recording studio recording this album in the week that it took them to do it. You could have the book could have historical content leading up to the recording. Start off in the Wicked Lester, kind of like a history book. And Paul and Gene, I've seen them show it off all the time. They're handwritten their notepads that have the handwritten lyrics with the changes and stuff. Have that reproduced to be in the book. Wouldn't it be able to be cool to see?
For sure.
A reproduction of having the book, the reproduction of the handwritten lyrics, and a reproduction of the original KISS logo designed by Paul with his now it was designed, the S's were designed by Ace, but Paul redesigned the whole logo. But have a reproduction of his Sharpie. They don't throw anything away,
Right.
so they could reproduce that. Show reproductions of the concert promo signs of KISS during that time that they put up outside of the Coventry and the Daisy, and reproductions of those. And I'm not just talking about them being little, taking up a little segment in the book. I'm talking about you flip the book and it is the whole poster. You flip the page and it's a whole poster.
8x10 flyer.
Yeah, and of course a 5.1 recording of the album, and of course the box set should include a CD and a vinyl format. You know what I think it'd be really cool if they did, and I know they'd never do it because vinyl's making a comeback. I don't know if you guys have heard and seen, but you know cassettes are starting to kind of make a little bit of a comeback. How freaking cool would it be? And I don't even know if the machines are still around that makes them anymore. But how cool would it be if you get a box set of the original album, and you open that fucker up, and it has the CD in there and the Blu-ray and stuff like that, but it's got the album, and you lift the album out, and there's a damn 8-track.
There you go.
It'd be like, I gotta find me an 8-track player to play this bitch in, because I got some 8-tracks. Look, I got some 8-tracks. See,
there you go.
I got a live.
I didn't even take a reproduction of an 8-track.
I've got a live. I've got Destroyer.
There you go.
So I mean, yeah, put one of these in a box set. I mean,
I had the white one too.
That'd be cool if they did that.
Even if it's not like a playable, just like a little, replica, kind of neat.
Yeah, just the actual an actual live sized 8-track little thing. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's my number one. What's you guys' number one?
Well, number one for me was Dynasty. I mean, I think they could do a nice book to go with that, with all the promo stuff they did for the return of KISS and all that, and I just love that album. It's a fun album, It really is. And I would love to see what they would do with that, how they would present it and everything. And I wish that it got a little more love. And I mean, I don't know. I think fans would really enjoy that because, over the years, a lot of people have come out and said that that's one of their favorite KISS albums when, a lot of people trashed it back in the day. But I think, that would be a really neat box set to do. And that's just like a personal favorite, and they could probably throw anything in there and I'd love to have it just because, just the whole aspect of it. They could even have it where you could like a slip cover where you could interchange it with the original cover, or something.
There you go.
Or something like that, I don't know. Possibilities are endless, but that's my number one.
Yeah, and it'd be cool if they put like they did with Destroyer, where they put in some of the drawings of the blueprints of the stage.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Because that was a gigantic stage, and the lighting truss was amazing. It was their biggest lighting truss.
Costume design stuff.
Costume design. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
There's a lot that they could do with Dynasty too. I agree.
And that's my number one too, Dynasty. I'd love to see that too because it was right. That basically the end. That was the end. All the merch and all that stuff. The KISS machine was all coming to an end, but it was just so much fun stuff leading up to that album. 78, 79, all that stuff, and they could make a really sweet. That one for sure. I might pay $200 for.
and you talked about the machine, and it kind of we talked about how KISS always has missed opportunities, and I think it's a lot of times just because KISS is lazy, and they don't want to they do the minimum effort, maximum profit. I think it's kind of sad that some of the greatest things that we get from KISS, or some of the greatest things that we get about KISS, we don't get from KISS. If you look at the books that we've gotten from KISS themselves about KISS are kind of lame. But then you start looking at the books like Nothing to Lose, the books that's been written by Ken Sharp, the books that's been written by James Cameron, the book about Destroyer, or the books that's been written by Julian Gill, who I've had on my show. He wrote the book about The Elder. He wrote the book about the solo albums. These are amazing books about KISS that did not come from the KISS organization themselves. They came from other people. Look at some of the KISS Bibles that we've gotten from Tom Shannon and Jason and Herndon and all those guys over at Kiss My Wax and Kiss My Collectibles. The KISS Bible that has all the different variants and all the different releases.
Nicholas, what's his face?
The Nicholas Buckland, the hottest brand in the world that documents all the KISS machines from Nicholas Buckland. He's kind of in with those guys too. Had to come from somebody outside the organization. Why? Why does it have to come from? Why is all this amazing stuff, the most amazing stuff, come from outside the KISS organization? Why?
Yeah,
I don't understand it. And like I said, the only explanation that I can give is because they're lazy. They minimum effort, maximum profit, and that's basically how they are.
Yeah,
and this stuff could very well have came from them. These people, I mean, I'm glad that Julian Gill and all these guys were able to write this stuff, and I appreciate every one of them for what they've done for the KISS community and given back to us, because we certainly wasn't going to get it from KISS.
Right.
So, I mean, we're still waiting on the fourth KISSology from KISS. I'm gonna open my beer before it gets much colder or warmer. This is a Sarnak Brewing.
Sarlacc?
Sarnak. Snorlac.
Sleestack?
Sarniac. Sleestack. S'mores. And I'm gonna go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. I've had these before. I've tried them. One of my kids got them for me for Christmas. Yeah, I'm that dad that the kids buy beer for Christmas.
That's all right.
That's that.
But it does. It tastes, and it's one of those. Anytime you have a beer that has chocolate in it, it always seems the best to let it warm up a little bit. But you can literally taste the chocolate and the graham cracker and the marshmallow in this. It is so good. S'mores. It's a s'more porter.
I'm gonna go Tortilla Hands Dark, local brewery.
Oh, okay.
This is the brewery in the neighborhood, and they're all like about doom metal and like weed and Hispanic culture. So a lot of their stuff, beers are named like with weed names or doom names or something like Tortilla Hands. You know? I love it, and the beer is really good too. So,
all right, segment number 3. Mr. Paul Stanley's birthday is January the 20th. It'll probably be shortly after this video comes out. This video should be out by the 20th. And so we wanted to pay honor to Mr. Paul Stanley. He will be 70. And so we wanted to, and this was tough picking just 5 songs, guys.
Oh, yeah.
This was,
it was
so hard for me.
Yes.
But I picked my top 5 Paul songs. I originally had more. And then when I started looking at what my top 5 was, I'm like, yeah, I've got a lot of favorite Paul songs. But yeah, these hands down are my favorite 5. So I'll start with me. My number 5, you've heard me talk about this song many, many, many times throughout my years doing YouTube. And whenever we talk about it, I always just gush over it. So my number 5 Paul Stanley song is Making Love off of Rock and Roll Over. And my even more favorite version off of Kiss Alive 2. Making Love, I think, is a great, great song. A lot of energy and just rocks. That opening line, I just hate when the girl says, wait.
Blistering solo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Love that solo.
Yeah, and just that whole riff, that's just awesome. What about you guys? Number 5.
My number 5. I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this.
You better not say it.
Nothing can take me away from you.
I know I wouldn't get hate from Rick, but number 5 is "Hide Your Heart."
Nice.
That's a good one.
Okay, I love that song. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite songs from that album. You know, I love a song that tells a good story. Totally 80s sounding, and I love it. And it's
Tommy and Gina used to work on the docks. No, wait a minute, wrong song.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I mean, it's like it's a cheesy song. I know it's a guilty pleasure song, but I love it, and it's up there for me. I mean, it's perfectly Paul. You know that
it's
song.
it's a good song because Kiss and Ace both made really good versions of it.
Totally, yeah. I like Ace's version, but I do love Paul's better. So
yeah.
But
all right.
Hide Your Heart's my number 5.
That's a good number 5.
I toyed around with that one.
We ain't gonna kick you out of the club for that.
Yeah, no, it's probably around the number 6 or 7 right now. It was like you said, it was hard picking them. But
it was. I had several runner-ups. You know. So.
I had about like 20 runner-ups.
Yeah,
there's only a few bad songs, Paul songs, and we covered those before.
Right. Right.
Well, my first pick was off of this lovely album.
Oh yes.
It's All Right. I love that song.
Great song.
I love his performance in that song.
Paul's album, except for a couple songs, it's pretty much close to a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a couple songs on there that, but it's one of my songs comes off that album too. So
yeah.
Well, that's what I said about his album. It's like I can't give it a perfect 10 because it's not. I wish it was longer. That's what takes a point away. You know, for me, I wish it was a little long. I wish there were a few more songs in there. You know. But we got the extra songs on Gene's album, so.
Right.
But yeah, just the way he sings.
You hear the story told about Paul's album. He talks about it in his book that he was a little bit behind the 8 ball, you know, on his album because Gene had this slew of demos that he had brought from Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun era. He had a slew of demos. And Peter and Ace had already been kind of looking to do their own thing. Mm-hmm. Peter had this huge back catalog from Lips. You know, he borrowed heavily from Lips and from Stan Pendridge. Ace had been already started writing songs for his solo album. You know, Rocket Ride was originally a song he wrote for his solo album. And Paul went into the studio and didn't even have a complete album. He was writing songs on his lunch breaks. I think Goodbye he wrote on a lunch break or something like that. So Paul only having 9 songs on his album, it is shorter than the albums, but I mean what he doesn't have in quantity, he definitely makes up for in quality.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
So
that's my first pick. It's all right.
It's all right. Yeah, it's a good song. All right, my number 4 Paul Stanley song is it's funny because I was doing this. I was going down through and I was like, oh, wait, I don't think of that as a Paul Stanley song. I think of that as a Kiss song. And I'm like, wait a minute. If it's a Kiss song and Paul's singing it, then it's a Paul song.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of really, because it's weird in my head. Some Kiss songs are Paul songs, but then like this song here to me is a Kiss song, but Paul sings it. So you've heard me say before, this is my favorite Kiss song, but it's my 4th favorite Paul Stanley song. So you see the kind of the catch-22 in that. It's my favorite Kiss song, but it's not my favorite Paul Stanley song. It's only my 4th favorite Paul Stanley song.
I think you're just fucking with us at this point, Brent.
It's my channel. It's my channel, damn it.
But it's my 7th favorite Peter Criss song.
But it's my 4th favorite Paul song is also my 6th favorite Peter Criss song because he wrote a lot of songs for Peter.
My 25th Soul Station favorite song, though.
My fourth favorite Paul Stanley song, which is also my number one favorite Kiss song, Detroit Rock City.
There you
Um,
go.
Detroit Rock City. It's even you hear the demo that I've heard it before, and if you've got the box set, you've heard it. Even though Bob Ezrin came in and really defined it and helped sculpt it and add to it and take away from it and make it into what we got off of the Destroyer album. You hear the demo before Bob had an influence, and it's still just blistering. It's not the version I've come to know and love, but Detroit Rock City is a song that I'll never get tired of. It's the very first Kiss song I ever heard. And I think that's why it's my favorite Kiss song, but not my favorite Paul song. There's Paul songs I like better. So
Stop
yes, I'm screwing with you, but yeah. All right, so number 4, Detroit Rock City for me.
Well, my number 4 comes from the solo album, and it's my favorite song from the solo album. Ain't Quite Right. I love that song. I love the slow part and how it builds up, and the guitar is amazing on it, and that's my absolute favorite song from that solo album. And I think that song was like ahead of its time. Like that song does not sound like it does, but it doesn't sound like a 70s song. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of weird, but it fits that era. But it doesn't sound dated at all. It sounds perfectly great. I love that song. So that is my number 4. That's from his solo album, I think. So that's my number 4 Paul song, but that's my number 1 from the solo album.
Number 4 Paul song, but my number 1 solo album song. Got it. Gotcha. Got it. All right. And it's Ain't Quite Right. Yeah. All right. What about you?
I'm all messed up now. Where are we at now?
4. Number 4.
Number 4. Paul Stanley song / Kiss song. I ain't making no qualms. Off Dynasty. Sure know something.
Mm-hmm. Good one.
It's got a nice little. I don't know. I picked a couple. They're not really rockers. It's not really a rocker, but it's just really good. I think the bass line is what sells it for me.
That bass line is just so amazing.
The smoothness of the bass line and the chill of Paul going into it,
Yeah.
But the chorus is just great too. I just something, Yeah, man. Yeah. I really like this song. I really dig that
The
song.
harmonizing that.
Yeah.
Yep. That song is a study in dynamics. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. It's great. Got that great bridge. It's just that harmonizing ahs. It's great.
Yep. So that's my number 4, man. Sure know something. I play that out. I'll play it and then I'll rewind it. Mm-hmm. I'll click that little button to go back and play it again.
Flip the tape over. Rewind. Flip it back over.
Rewind.
Rewind. Number 3 for me, up to number 3, Mr. Speed off of Rock and Roll Over. Mr. Speed is, I can't say what I haven't said about it before. If you've watched me, you know that I love Mr. Speed. It's one of those songs I feel like Kiss does not give us enough of. It's a song that, to me, should still be in their set list to this day. I think it's a great song. And, I really can't say too much about it other than it's my 3rd favorite all-time Paul Stanley song.
Nice.
Yep.
Very good.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there's so many that you guys are mentioning that aren't on my list, but they're like, I'm like, oh, that's my number 6. Oh, that's my number 6.5.
Right.
But yeah, so my number 3 is Shandy. Oh. I love that song. I mean, I'm a sucker for it. I really am. I play it a lot. I love the video. I don't know. It just gets me in the feels every time. Casey and I have slow danced that song in the kitchen.
Oh.
So I love that song. So that's my number 3, Shandy. Yeah.
You played at your wedding?
We didn't actually.
No, it might have made their playlist a little better. I'm just kidding.
That wasn't my playlist, but hey, one of my runner-ups was Forever.
Forever, yeah. Forever's a good song. Do you change the lyrics and do you say your You Casey, tonight must last us forever.
There you go.
So you can do it. You can do Casey because it almost works
Yeah,
with Shandy.
It works. Yeah.
Two
Totally.
syllables.
Yeah.
So your number.
Yeah, but you can't sing that. You can tell me goodbye, or when you can tell me good night when we should say goodbye.
No, I got you.
Yep. All right. So what
That
about
was-
you?
That was number 3.
Yep.
All right. Well, this my number 3. I know it gets played a lot, but I like it. I love the way he sings it. I love the harmony in the chorus, and it actually went over pretty well when I saw him live in October. From Asylum, would be "Tears Are Falling," man.
Oh yeah.
I love "Tears Are Falling." I love that
Very
song.
good.
Just he's up here and the harmony and all that stuff. Yeah, it's just great. It's great, Paul. It's sappy, sweet
yeah.
Paul.
I was 6 when that album came out, and I bought the album. I my sister worked at Camelot Music then. I bought the album.
Like,
And that was when I was a kid. That was one of my favorite Kiss songs.
yeah, man.
Mhm.
The video, I loved it. I mean,
Oh, such a good time.
Yeah.
I can't even do it in order.
I'm coordinated.
This time I drive a Mini. This is how they go down the road.
I need to change
No.
mine. Mine was all over. Like,
That song, just talk about how Paul writes that melody. He is a melody whore,
Yeah,
and not only that, not only can he write an amazing melody, but he can write amazing words to go with that melody.
Mhm.
And just that whole melody, that da na 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 na, just that melody is just so. And then he can just find all the different words to go with it. I mean, he could just the guy's just, I don't know, he's just amazing when it comes to his ability to thoughtfully craft
right.
a melody and a lyric together with it.
Just something the pre-chorus. And then it's raining.
Yeah.
It just start building up. Like, oh, here it comes.
Yeah. You know it's coming.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I love that song.
That is really good. And the solo, I mean, I know it's Bruce, but the solo in that song is just so good too.
And they
All
went
right.
over well, man. They had like the neon, the colors and
Yeah.
shit at the concert. It was great. It was a good time. Good to see it live.
All right. My number 2. Said this before, and this song to me is all just a song that I always talk about that just blows my mind. It shows you the type of artist that Paul is, the artist that he was and the artist that he was going to become. But writing this song at 16 years old is just amazing to me. And it's always been a favorite of mine. And it's my second favorite Paul Stanley song, and that's Firehouse. Firehouse is one of those songs that it always amazes me when I gush and go crazy over Firehouse, and I'll talk to another Kiss fan, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I like it okay." I'm like, "What's wrong with you? Firehouse is fucking great." But Firehouse is just, I don't know. I just always love just the chorus, the verse, that "Get the Firehouse." That riff, that dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun 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 woo woo, yeah. I mean, it's just awesome. That stop and start that they do, and
it's a classic one, but it's one of those classic ones that I don't get tired of.
right.
There
Yeah.
are some that it's like fatigue, but that's not one of them.
Mhm.
Like I could always listen to that.
It's fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it's one of those songs that really shows you not just it's a song that Paul wrote and then laid a foundation for everybody in the band to be able to contribute to and make it that classic that we know. You got that Ace song, that Ace solo. That that starts at that. Who writes a solo like that? And then when it gets into that part where Peter's sitting there doing the doing all that jazzy stuff during the solo, it's just one of those things that Kiss comes together and makes a great song on their first album. And live version's better, but Firehouse is one of those songs I never get tired of. And to this day, I'm not tired of it. So Firehouse is my number 2 for sure.
Well, my number 2 is got to go with what AJ said. Sure Know Something. That song is great. I mean, for all the reasons you said, I love it, and I love the acoustic version they did on Unplugged too. I mean, it's just like spectacular, and that, like you said, the bass line, everything in it. I mean, it's a great song. That is definitely my number 2. So,
okay,
beautiful.
Number 2 for you.
My number 2, one I don't think gets enough love actually, and I absolutely love this song. And I actually got shit. I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway, off Lick It Up. Million to One.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That song, like another kind of romantic-y, heartbroken Paul song, I guess. But yeah, man, I don't know what I just kind of. I've always liked that. I think that's like the better version of "I Still Love You." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? It's like "I Still Love You" Part 2, but it's better. So, yeah, that's my pick. I wish they would. I wish more people would get into it, or they would do more with it, or whatever.
Baby, now that you've made up your mind.
I mean, he sounds like
so great.
He's really hurting, man.
That's so great.
So.
Oh yeah, I mean, Paul's voice in that is just amazing. When that whole part where he gets to day after day, you're further away, I can't take it. And you're like, oh God, I feel you, man. I've been there. I've been there, man. I've been there.
Take him back.
I've been there.
Yeah, great. I love that song.
That's another Vinnie Vincent co-write on that.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a big Vinnie Vincent write on that. I've actually heard Vinnie Vincent sing that. I've seen footage of him singing that at one of his little conferences that he's had before. And Vinny was, and here's another thing. I know Vinny wasn't in the band, and not trying to get off on a side tangent. Vinny wasn't in the band very long, but when we've talked about misses for Kiss when it comes to, we did that Eric Carr misses, and one of them was not letting him sing more. I just think anybody that has voice that's been in Kiss, Bruce, Eric, even Vinny has a great voice. Kiss should have let him sing more. Paul and Gene should have let him sing more and gave him a little bit of that spotlight.
Sure.
Not every song had to be sung by them. Matter of fact, once Ace and Peter left the band, it kind of got monotonous when it was like, okay, what's it going to be? Is it going to be a Gene song? Or is it going to be a Paul song?
Yeah.
Or is it going to, we've got a 50-50 shot.
5 Paul songs. Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of you lost that variety when it come to voices and who was going to be a lead singer or whatever.
Sure.
And I wish they would have used the people that they had a little more. But yeah, Million to One, that's a great one. My number 1, and I've said this before, that this is my favorite Paul Stanley song. It comes off of the solo album. And for all the songs that Paul Stanley has ever written, this is my favorite. I think it's epic. And I think to me, it's the best song on the Paul Stanley solo album. It is the jewel in the crown of his solo album. And to me, it is the very epic Take Me Away, Together as One.
Yeah.
That song is badass. Mm-hmm. It's probably the best Kiss song ever written, in my opinion, just because of the grandioseness of it. It's almost like a journey. It's just I don't know, man. It's not like anything Kiss had done up to that point. And it just starts off so simple with all those minor notes, and it just turns into this big, huge song. So yeah, "Take Me Away Together" is one, hands down my favorite Paul Stanley song, my favorite off of his solo album. So yeah, that's my pick, number one.
Nice.
Well, my number one is it's a great song, studio track, but it's one of them that live it's 100,000 times better.
Yeah.
100,000 years.
Yeah.
I
See
mean,
what you did there.
that's it's a great track, and man, when he's doing it live, and especially it's everything about it. It's them doing the extended solos and everything, and him carrying out the end and getting the crowd involved and everything. It's a great track, and that is, man, that's a pretty heavy early Kiss track too.
Yeah.
When you hear that, and man, he sings the hell out of that one. So that is my favorite.
I got a question for the wild people over here.
I got a question for everybody here.
Here.
And I didn't forget about you people upset here. Well, yeah.
Bring the roof down. Oh man, I love that. I do. I love the live version too, man. It's fun.
I want to know how many people here tonight believe in rock and roll.
And then Pete gets his kind of like his solo too. It's perfect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just picture doing that. Wrap it around his neck.
And then it starts back into that solitude taking so long. And then it breaks back down into it.
Yeah. I know.
That's so great.
That was a close one for me too, but I wouldn't have room for my number one, so I'm like, I gotta be bumped, man. But yeah, that's a fun song on the album, but alive, holy shit!
Yeah.
It's like 10 minutes, right?
I know, yeah.
Yeah, it's long. There's only like three songs on that side. Yeah, so
and it
it's
actually
long.
goes by fast. It's not like that 15-minute Ace solo on the off the soundboard one. I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Right. Wrap it up, Ace.
Good. Yeah, right. All right. My number one is my favorite Paul and Kiss song of all time.
You're not going to be confusing. It's not going to be your favorite Paul song, but your 14th favorite Kiss song.
All-time favorite song I sing. I'll sing it in the car. I love it to death. All-time favorite Paul song. All-time favorite Kiss song. That would be "Love Gun."
Oh,
Love
yeah.
Gun all the way. I love that song till the day I die. I
think that's Paul's favorite song. I think I've actually heard him say that his favorite song that he's ever written is "Love Gun."
I think, I read that too. I think, yeah.
And I think they've played it on every single tour that he's been on since then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to come down there and sing to you.
I'm going to come out there and sing to you guys.
But you got to say my name.
And goes Rod.
You're like the extra three beats in there, the extra three, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I can almost kind of sing it when I'm alone in the car. So.
Oh yeah, me too.
See?
I love the way Paul sings on that. He kind of sings that same way on "It's All Right," and he sings that way on 100,000 Years, and he sings that way on "Love Gun." That I really love you, baby. It's like he's yelling, but he's singing at the same time, and he does that on. Think about that. He does that on "It's All Right." He does that on 100. Sorry to have taken so long.
Mm-hmm.
And "It's All Right." I'm pretty good at taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's that tone that he sings in.
Yep.
That his voice is just so powerful.
The aggressive Paul. I like that.
Yeah, the aggressive Paul. Yeah.
So that's my number one, man. Love Gun.
Awesome. That is that is three very fine lists of number 5 for honor of Mr. Paul. I don't have any beer left where I would salute.
Yeah,
I can hold it up anyway. We can salute to Mr. Paul.
Felice,
Mr. Paul Stanley.
Felice birthday. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all we've got. That's all I've got for this one.
Yeah, my
So-
son just texted. I got to go pick him up from work. So
All right. So, well, Matthew's got to go. So
Good
that
show,
means we
Jim.
all got to go. All right. So, thanks, Matthew, for ruining our time. Got to go be a responsible parent.
yeah.
Anyway. All right. So, thanks for everybody watching. Again, thanks to my Patreons. And like I said, if you're going to buy something on Amazon, check out my link down in there and help the channel out without it costing you anything except for an extra click. And special guest, thanks to my hosts on either side of me, Mr. Matthew, Mr. AJ. And thanks to you for watching. Just subscribe and share and give us thumbs up. And interact down in the comments. What is your box set that you want to see? What is your a live off the soundboard you want to see? What's your favorite 5 Paul Stanley songs? Jump down there in them comments, and we'll see you in the next episode number 5, coming in February. See you soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.